Okay, good morning, everybody, and uh, we'll start with a short video.
Good morning to each and everyone present here. All our professors and faculties and administration staff have gathered here to ensure they extend information about some intricate details about the Master of Science MSc course designed at Symbiosis School of Economics. But before we dwell into the perspectives and dwelling more into the PPT and the video that has been presented in front of us, before we dwell into the perspective from the professors and the faculties, as a student of Symbiosis of Economics for the last 2 years, let me give an insight on how my fresh experience has been for the last couple of years to dwell into a student perspective. Now, when I was supposed to pursue masters in the year 2019, I was intimidated because it was an MSc structure we are talking about. It was a structure which is academically very intimidating. But my journey started with an election that happens in our college. It is a student council election. And at that point in time, at that juncture, all the discussions that has been taken place with all the people in our college, be the students, that helps us to interact with each other and get to know each other to make us comfortable. And before dwelling into that, and for the next 1 year, I have realized, and all of us, the students who have been a part of Symbiosis of School of Economics till date, we have realized that by the end of the academic year, it was not only about academically progressive, be it about other aspects, which can be about club activities, which can be cultural activities, which can be student activities, social activities. And also, every door was open and right in front of us, be it research, be it industry related skills, be it software skills, or the involvement with the placement as a students, and to make sure that we have an interaction with the corporate world. And all of the door were just right in front of us. We just had to choose to make sure how we develop ourselves. And at the end of that academic year, there was an unprecedented situation. The catastrophic situation of COVID-19 struck. And when the whole climate was and the discourse was revolving around the discussions about what is going to be the future of education, because this is the first time we have all have been witnessing as students, as professors, as every each and every human being in the whole world. This is something we have never experienced before. But Symbiosis School of Economics made sure that there was a smooth functioning. Our exams never stopped. Our academic calendar did not change. And today here we are. I'll be graduating if everything goes well and fine, I'll be graduating in the next 1 month. And from the time the COVID-19 situation came forth, discussion was all about, the discourse was with the online medium of communication. And but it has always been ensured that students we have been given a comfortable space right in front of us. Our learning never stopped. Our screen time wasn't exorbitant, and other activities that went on parallelly has been exorbitant. And all the professors, all the faculties, our director, all the administration officials, they have come to make sure that the smooth function is extended right in front of us. And that is what, rightly so, when times are going right, everything seems well and fine. But in times of adversity, it is a real test of a human being or an institution, be it an enterprise, institution, or a nation itself. The administration is tested in the times of adversity. And Symbiosis of School of Economics has always stood to make sure they're there for the students, to give our voices were heard and make sure we get a comfortable space. And in a nutshell, my experience has been profound and prolific for the last 2 years. And before we move on to the webinar discussions and other questions that you might have, we would first like to introduce our director of the Institute, Dr. Jyoti Chandiramani. Professor Jyoti Chandiramani has more than 35 years of experience in teaching and research. She's presently the director of Symbiosis School of Economics and the Dean Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences at the Symbiosis International University. She teaches urban economic development, urban mobility, trade, aid and development, and international organization and regional cooperation at the master's level. In 2007, Professor Jyoti was awarded a short-term scholarship at the University of DePaul, Indianapolis, to study liberal arts education. In 2013, she was part of the Indian delegation to Pakistan for the 10th South Asian Economic Student Meet. And in 2015, recently, she was invited to the 5th ASEAN Rectors Conference and as a mentor for the Students Forum. She was invited to visit Macquarie University to present research work and as visiting faculty in May 2018. Besides writing a couple of textbooks, she has jointly edited a book with Ramana Jha on perspectives in urban development, issues in infrastructure, planning, and governance. Her areas of research interest in urban include urban infrastructure, urban transport, urban poverty, and she is presently working on Pune-centric cases. Besides, she keenly studies and follows trends in international development cooperation, from the MDGs to the SDGs. She has more than 8 PhD students and scholars working under her guidance. She has undertaken various research projects and consultancy in collaboration with NABARD, ITDP, Sulochana Thapar Foundation, and with reputed think tanks in India. Ma'am, we would like to give you opening remarks.
Thank you, Mayuk, for your very, positive takes on Symbiosis School of Economics and sharing your thoughts as a student, the way you look at it. Over here, we have a large number of students who have joined here today with a future that seems a little uncertain. The pandemic doesn't seem to be waning off with 3 lakh plus cases per day. And yet we are here saying that please come to SSE, please come to Pune. Pune would be maybe digitally, maybe online, that where we have our education, and be a part of the MSc Economics program. A program which started in 2011, a program which has seen more than 10 batches graduate, nearly 10 batches graduate, with more than 400 alumni from the MSc batch, of course, and more than 1,300 alumni from the BSc program. So we have almost 1,700 alumni who can really vouch for what we are doing. So the question here is, why would students want to come in for an MSc Economics? So To answer the question, what is the difference between MA and MSc? I will leave it to our program in charge, Dr. Ishita Ghosh, who's here. She will talk to you about that. But moving beyond that, I think at Symbiosis School of Economics, the first thing we put into place was a very, very evolving academic curriculum. A curriculum where the knowledge, you come to an institution to take some knowledge back with you, which remains with you for a lifetime. Along with the knowledge that is taught or is facilitated, you take back experiences, you take back the learning pedagogy, you take back lifelong learning skills, which translate into employment opportunities as you move by. I keep telling my students that, there should be no stone left unturned. And typically, when you look at, what is education for, and we talk about the basic 3 R's of education: reading, writing, arithmetic. I think in the first 3, they all tend to excel. Because if you did not pass your quantitative papers in the first semester and the second semester, the third and the fourth semester would be meaningless for you. You would be able to apply those skills in due course of time. Along with the quantitative aspect, you would also have softwares that would be taught to you. So the academics and the pedagogy, the experiential learning, the lifelong learning is something which is absolutely going to turn you to the best. So we all move up a trajectory from good to better to best. And that's the journey we are going to help you achieve. SSC provides you with an environment for creativity, for collaboration, for cooperation, and of course, friendly competitiveness. But the competitiveness is not having its own negative connotations. On the contrary, it is more encouraging. Moving forward, it is very demand. We learn to manage the demand of the students, the demand expectations, what they want of college, what they expect. And we have the window of this interaction at SSE totally open. So typically, I'll just tell you that we have what is called the RPI model, the academics, which I've already discussed with you, very strong academics, knowledge, teaching, pedagogy. Something that can be internationally benchmarked. We have research, which is a very, very strong integral part. And surely each of you will be trained to undertake some form of research, whether it is through your internships, whether it is through your dissertations, whether it is through your courses. It may also be through a research publication, which is required of every student to be done. So let me share that with you. And of course, we train you for that in these 2 years. This makes you ready for the market as you go by. In terms of placements, when it comes to research, Dr. Ranjan Dash will subsequently speak to you on that. He's the research head, and he is sitting amidst us over here on the screen. In terms with the academics and the research and the kind of ethics and the encouragement that we give you, you get ready to be placed in the international and the global and the national market. From local to global, I keep hoping that we'd have people from the Northeast, from aspirational districts, so that we could make the futures of these districts, people who go back with as trained resources and take their districts forward, because the kind of development agenda that we have at SSC, very nicely led by Kalyan Shankar and Deepa Gupta, who teach the development specialization, sensitized students for the future. So the RPI, I told you, placed in society with development as a specialization in part 2. Trade, which is again another very, very important specialization, which is offered in a popular specialization where Dr. Ranjan Das and Dr. Ishita Ghosh are associated with that specialization. When it comes to finance, which is the third specialization, just started a year back, it is Dr. Ashdesha and Dr. Deepa. And urban, it is related with me, Gargi, and a couple of urban practitioners whom we have from across the country, be it Ravikant Joshi, be it Nain Keruwala, be it Ramna Jha. We have practitioners, academicians from India and across who interact with us on this gate. So you get an academic background, a research background, to place you in society with knowledge and with employment opportunities, as well as place you as a citizen. The international part of the RPI term is how our program is totally benchmarked to various leading universities in India and across the world, and how our students have made it abroad in even leading universities to get admission for PhD, which are fully funded. So whether you are looking at future academics or jobs, etc., in corporates or banks or in think tanks, to talk more about that is going to be Dr. Ashlesha. But the last part, enhanced engagement. And I just thought that over these 10 years, we've had engagement with World Bank, we've had engagement with IMF, UNDP. Right now, we are in touch with ILO. So I think we've touched base with a lot of international organizations that are of importance to us. Within India, we are with Niti Aayog, we are with NABARD, and a large number of think tanks in the country, be it RIS, be it ICRIAR, be it IHD, and therefore I leave this platform for my colleagues to share with you their journey with SSE and answer and address all your questions about your future in SSE. And before I welcome you again to this platform, I'd like to tell you that we have handled the pandemic very well. The team has put a big amount of effort and tried to manage students' expectations with respect to all aspects: pedagogy, screen time, learning experience, so that they go out feeling that we have addressed all their requirements and concerns. Thank you and hope to see you at SSE soon.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And like right now, we would like to begin with the intricate details of the course that we were speaking about. And the details of the overview of the course will be given by Dr. Ishita Ghosh. Ma'am, if you could.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I hope you're doing well in these difficult times. You're safe, you're taking care of yourselves, and you are ensuring that everyone at home is healthy. Okay, so thank you, Mayuk, for allowing me this opportunity over here. I am Ishita. I am the program in charge of MSc Economics at the Symbiosis School of Economics, and I'm going to discuss the nitty-gritty of the MSc program with you today. We are over 10 years old in terms of the MSc program, and it has been a very, very enriching journey where we have over these last 10 years evolved our curriculum into a program which is benchmarked internationally and has been endorsed by various stakeholders such as the industry, internationally renowned teachers in economics, researchers, students, parents, etc. So let me give you a quick overview about what happens in this MSc Economics program. The first thing that you would probably want to know is, why should you do a master's degree? Many of you may not be clear as to why a master's degree is needed, but it is often required for certain high-level positions in the fields of business, public policy, consultancies, administration, academia, and research. Okay, so a master's degree is always good to have in your academic portfolio. Now, you may also wonder why is this program under the Masters of Science garb? Okay, uh, what is the difference between an MA or an MSc in economics? Uh, Honestly, the aims and objectives of an MA in economics and an MSc in economics generally remain the same. But certain universities consider the master's program to be given in terms of a science degree, and it typically includes a lot of additional applications in economic theory, concepts, and principles based on more quantitative and software focus. Uh, in SSC, the MSc in economics definitely has a lot of rigor in terms of training in software, like I've mentioned. And I'm going to give you the details of what kind of software we usually work with later on. But as of now, we put a lot of focus in the kind of software that we train our students in. The application of the software, the using the software in crunching data and actually looking at hands-on use of the software vis-a-vis insights that you can get with information that is out there, and applying this into real life situations and uh, basically increasing your acumen in problem solving. Okay, so this is one aspect. The other aspect as to why this is an MSc in economics is the core focus in research. Right from the beginning, as soon as you join the program, there is very specific focus given to training yourselves in skills that are required for doing research and for understanding research uh, and for developing the ability to find insights from various scenarios and setup that you see in the real world. Okay, so this is primarily the reason why we talk about an MSc in economics. Uh, the current program content uh, typically is made of some core and some elective um courses in the first and the second semester. Okay, not too many elective courses in the first and second semesters, but later on. Essentially, core courses in the first and second uh, semesters, which are largely our standard macroeconomics, microeconomics, econometrics, uh, public economics, mathematical economics, growth and development, and two courses of 6 credits divided across the 2 semesters of research methodology and software packages. Okay, uh, this is compulsory for everyone who wants to enroll into the program. Once you are done with the 2 semesters of core understanding of the basics of economics, and this is at an advanced level. When I say basics, I mean the core that cannot be compromised with. So everyone has to know the elements from the first 2 semesters. Once the first 2 semesters are done, you can move on to specializations that we offer in the third and the fourth semesters. So the second part of your MSc program, you can choose international trade, you can choose development studies, you can choose urban development, and for the last one academic year, we have introduced finance, which is our new specialization. And of course, needless to say, it has been very well delivered and has been a very popular choice amongst students. I think I will invite my colleagues here to talk about the various specializations that are there. Ranjan, would you like to talk about the international trade specialization?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Welcome to SSC. I will briefly talk about international trade specialization. And as you know, we are offering four specialization: international trade, development studies, urban development, and finance. As you know, international trade is a major mainstream economic subject and plays very vital role in economic development. And it is also very fast moving and very dynamic sector and demands very solid understanding of theory, concept, and also application of quantitative skills, management skills also you require to be succeeded in international trade. And in the first year, you will study core economics, that is general to all of you. And the second year, only you will choose for specialization, and you have to choose one. And in addition to core international trade courses, the program also focused on international finance, trade and finance, international organizations, trade statistics, trade policy, trade law, and trade with its nexus with environment, resources, etc. and etc. And what you need is basically we have a very strong team. Myself is there, and Dr. Ghosh also there, and we are both involving in teaching and research. In addition to this, we have also outside very distinguished professor also. They teach in time to time. What do we require for selecting international trade is sound knowledge about economic theory, core economics like micro, macro, and some mathematics, statistics also. And econometrics, of course, econometrics is very widely applicable for international trade subjects. And what after the studying this, what is the outcome of this subject is you will get a lot of insight into bilateral trade, how the countries trade with each other, and also how finance is involved in international trade, and it is increasingly finance related trade aspects, trade promotion strategies, and the role of WTO, how it is governing international trade, and also regional level trade, how it happening also, and RTAs and other aspects, regional trade agreements, other aspects also. The program also will help you to enable you to develop a very broad set of skills to assess major trade issues, draft policy documents, and negotiate with the government and different organization, international organization. Also, you can look for corporate sector job also, because this program is very heavily focused on the application of theory into practice. You will able to investigate how the skills developed throughout the year, your program's year. You will be used to best advantage in your professional environment. So after studying this program, the program or this particularly the international trade will prepare you for a wide choice of future careers, such as managing international business, specializing in particular business function, even starting your own business also. And graduate from MSc in international trade will you develop you an understanding and essential fact, concept, principles, and theory relating to international trade, and will have the opportunity to apply these in wide range of strategic and operational issues and business are problems arising in business also. The master creates an environment in which student can develop and demonstrate independent and collaborative research capability. We are also focusing on research capabilities, and you start from your research paper and how to review critically literature review also from first semester itself. So therefore, you will have, let's say, sufficient skills and to develop research capability and present solution to complex problems using a range of appropriate technique that will be taught over the time, and by exposing them to idea and methods applicable to advanced scholarship. And this program will equip you, help you a range of employability skills, attributes, and attitude. This will help you to develop an effective problem solvers, team workers, and collaborator and communicator who can advise local and international organization on range of trade related matters. Thank you. So I'll hand over to the Gosmam, and again If you have any question, we'll answer it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjan Das. That was a very detailed understanding of what a student would sign up for if they chose the international trade specialization. I would request my colleagues, Dr. Kalyan Shankar and Dr. Varun Miglani, to shed some light on the development studies specializations that the students could also opt for. Over to you, Dr. Kalyan Shankar.
Okay. Um, so good morning, everyone, and it's a pleasure having an opportunity to interact with all of you. And I hope you're all safe and doing well, and so is everyone else in your family, given the very unprecedented circumstances that we are all living in. Um, my name is Kalyan Shankar, and I'm one of the faculty members involved in teaching courses for the specialization in development studies in the second year. Um, I did my PhD from the Department of Economics at the University of Pune, and then subsequently I was a Fulbright Fellow at the New School in New York. And over the past decade, I have been working on a broad range of issues of developmental concern for India, including informal labor markets, primary and higher educational systems, issues of gender, public health, and of course, waste and sanitation, which has been one of my core areas of work for the past few years. I've been asked to give all of you a glimpse of what the specialization in development studies has on offer when you move on to the second year. Uh, I'll briefly talk about the challenges and complexities of development problems in India, the way we commonly observe them. And in fact, the uh, the pandemic in itself has thrown up newer challenges. So in a way, this is a fairly fluid kind of a space, and therefore then it becomes important to have the appropriate skill sets to be able to grasp and understand newer challenges which are coming forth for us. Okay, then subsequently I'll talk a bit about the course structure, and then I'll conclude with outlining some briefly about some of the employment avenues and opportunities that all of you can aspire for. And then subsequently, Varun can take over from there. Uh, right at the beginning or at the outset, I must clarify that when we talk of issues of development, you must all remember that this is necessarily an interdisciplinary kind of space. So just as economists have been trying to tackle problems of development and have been quite influential as far as policymaking is concerned, but then so do other disciplines. So you have got sociologists, anthropologists, historians, those from feminist studies or culture studies, and all of them have some important perspectives to offer as far as development is concerned. Just to take an example here offhand, if we take a subject like gender, for instance, okay, and you could have a whole range of questions pertaining to it, like uh, why is it that girls or women have lesser opportunities compared to men, or why is it that they don't have an equal share in family assets, and why do they tend to be poorer compared to men? In this is a theme commonly referred as the feminization of poverty. And how do they manage across paid labor, unpaid labor? So all of these questions have enormous bearings on development, but they have not come through from mainstream economics. Rather, they have come from people who have a background in feminist studies, right? So similarly, you could think of issues that plague all our urban centers. A great deal of issues which are which fit into urbanization would involve people from many academic disciplines, and we need to be able to work in broader multi-contextual kind of teams. Similarly, you could think of issues pertaining to sustainability or climate change, where you have to move beyond social scientists to start engaging a bit more with people with a background in hard sciences. So, as a development studies student, I think fundamentally you need to be uh, willing and open to learn from other disciplines such that you're able to tackle live problems of development. Okay. Now, these problems could broadly take the shape of 4 different kinds of components, and these could involve issues of equity, of productivity, of empowerment, and sustainability. So, I mean, these are not my words. I mean, uh, these are components which have been crystallized by some very eminent scholars, including Ahmed Yassine and Mahbubul Haq, and who have been instrumental in designing some of the primary indices of development for us. And each of these different components then need to be understood in its proper perspective and framed and framed at appropriate scales. So, for instance, if we have to think of issues of equity here, then we again come down to a whole range of questions like uh, why is it that at a global level you have some countries who are much poorer compared with others, and internally within countries, and why are some regions far more better off or worse off compared with others. Similarly, when you scale down, you have to start thinking about why is it that there are some people who are sort of poorer compared with others, why are some communities poorer, why are some people poorer. Then if you scale down further, then you have to start thinking about the very same problem from a gender lens. So why is it that women tend to be far poorer compared to men, right? And similarly, why is it that there are certain communities who are socially marginalized who are also then economically poorer? So all of these different questions then give rise to very multifaceted kinds of problems of development, which all of us need to understand a bit more about. Right? And then you have the problem of how do these issues of economic disparities then translate into difference of access into a wide range of issues such as education, access to healthcare, housing, right? And all of these would then collectively provide us with the context of development, which we would then have to know something more about a bit more clearly, right? Uh, and in this background, I think we have a fairly robust course here or specialization here when you move on to the second year, where we have a rich array of subjects. And the subjects collectively not only provide for a fairly detailed background in developmental theory and the rich history of ideas therein, but the structure or design of the course has enough scope for all of you to start engaging and get a first-hand experience of live developmental problems that are quite rampant around us. Right? And having done that, I believe then you're all competent enough to then get into a wide range of avenues, including governmental think tanks. Of course, you can get into academics, but then you have other opportunities with organizations working in the area of corporate social responsibility, or you could get into a lot of multilateral organizations, including the likes of the UNDP or UNESCO. And that's precisely where we would want all of you to progress to, such that you're in a you're then engaging in serious decision-making roles as far as problems of development are concerned. If you have any further questions here, I would be glad to address them along with the other faculty.
Thank you, Kalyan. That was very, very insightful, I think. Um, Students, if you have any queries, you can put this down in the sheet that has been provided to you, or you can pose your questions in the chat. We will address any questions pertaining to specializations when we take up the final Q&A session. Uh, Next, I would like to call upon Dr. Varun Miglani. Varun, are you there? I think Varun is not around right now, but Kalyan has covered all the nitty-gritty that you guys needed to know about the specialization. May I call upon Dr. Jyoti Chandiramani to talk about the urban development specialization. This is the first of its kind which is offered in the entire country, And this is the brainchild and baby of Dr. Jyoti Chandiramani. And uh, we have had fantastic feedback about this specialization across all stakeholders who have been associated with the specialization. So over to you, ma'am, if you would like to discuss about the
Thank you,
specialization.
Ishita, and hi everybody once again. Um, I think by now you've got an idea that there are 4 specializations, and the next last one that's going to follow my explanation is finance. Um, what's very nice is that we've had these 4 nicely categorized specializations, and urban development is something very, very close to my heart. Um, if you look at the world economy, uh, it's almost inching towards 60% urbanization. If you look at India's economy and you look at it, it is stated that as per the census 2011 and what is happening now, we would have inched from 31.2 to about 35% urban. But there are multiple perspectives, right from the definition of urban, the stringent definition of urban, to what is the reality. And this is one of the most interdisciplinary courses because we look at the philosophy of urbanization, the sociological aspect of it. You can't ignore the anthropological aspect of it. Then you come down to the political science and the governance part of urbanization and everything to do with urban studies. And undoubtedly, in economics, we keep talking about this because the moment you talk about growth, you say that urbanization is a big contributor to growth. Is this true? Is this false? There are a number of papers in favor of this as well as that challenge this proposition. There are a number of arguments about the definition of urban. And yet, when we say that, just this morning we were having a presentation about the kind of investment that is happening in Mumbai. You had the suburban trains, you've got the railways, you've got the metro, you've got the tram, you've got the coastal road, etc. And then, yet, it is the urban center which contributes almost 1/3 of the direct taxes to the country. So there's something to do with Mumbai, something to do with Delhi, the metropolitan regions, something to do with the 8,000 units that we define as urban as per the census. And actually, it goes beyond the definition because there are a lot of urban and peri-urban areas, the sprawl, etc. So when you talk about urban as a specialization, it's something that everybody knows a lot about. And yet, when it comes to the solution, you still find us all, floundering at times, coming up with different perspectives. A lot of policy framework already in place, very well evolved, but very difficult to implement, very difficult to measure outcomes because of the kind of complexity that urban has. It's an extremely exciting, what would you say, course outline, because the very aspect of it, we touch upon the demography of urban, the population related to urban. You can see the courses that are identified. We have Professor Nagraj from the International Population Studies program who comes and teaches this particular course. Urban governance is taught by Naeem Keruwala, and he is absolutely brilliant because he's gone for these kind of workshops with UNDP abroad and come back with all these learnings. And he's also a practitioner in this regard. Land economics, everything that you talk about urban is related to land. And while urban contributes much to the growth, urban land in India is only concentrated on 5% of the total land in the country. So can you imagine the pricing of land? And that is an important resource, the density of population, etc. A very, very interesting paper which talks about models, which talks about land models, agglomeration index, and the clusters that evolve and the different planning models that come in, of course, which is discussed in urban planning and development, the 4th course that is taught out there. All these courses are taught by absolute practitioners. GIS and problem solving is something that is taken up by our sister organization, Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics, where students actually learn how to create these maps for various cities, for various parameters, for various variables, and then they look at the solutions. And once you are able to do it in a pictographic manner with a certain kind of a measure in a scientific way, you're able to assess the problem and then you can deal with the solutions. Urban finance, is a very important aspect of our syllabus. In fact, I must also share with you that we've had a couple of students who have done their PhD in urban. First, Achal Airi did her PhD in urban transport. We've had Gargi do it in urban finance. We've had Sujata Deshpande work on, education and teacher training. So a lot of such issues with Pune as its perspective has been carried out. In the next semester, you would be talking about various urban development experiences, and we get the students to engage in this very, very strongly. On the one hand, you would have, Dr. Kalyan teaching this. On the other hand, you would have a class of 15 to 17 of students who would come with their shared experiences, be it from the city of Kurukshetra, a very small city with almost 1.5 lakh population, or be it from the city of Bellary or Siliguri. So you have people coming from all over. Then you have the big towns. You have students in class from Chandigarh, from Jamshedpur, and it becomes such an engaging class because everybody is talking about what they know a little, and then each one deep dives into it and comes out with shared experiences, which is one of the best ways of learning this particular program. Uh, you can see the next course, which is Urban Poverty, Migration and Sustainable Development, Sustainable Livelihoods. Another point I'd like to raise over here is almost all our programs touch upon the Sustainable Development Goals, wherever it is possible to align with it. Then we go in for specialization in the sectors which are related to urban infrastructure, which is urban mobility, urban energy and environment, urban solid waste management. Kalyan just spoke about that, and urban water and sanitation. When we look at this, we are able to understand the SDGs well. We are able to understand the frameworks very well. We are able to look at the ease of living index. We are able to find flaws with the smart city mission. What is happening with the Amrut, all the government interventions that are there. We work closely with Niti Aayog. I have worked with them on a working committee for smart city governance, and with NIUA, etc. The students go in for a lot of practical internships in this regard. Some of our students who have done urban development are even associated with the Urban Governance Index, which is released by PAX. Some have been associated with Janagraha. We have very close links with IIHS, with Avanta Foundation, etc. And believe it or not, be it PricewaterhouseCoopers, be it Ernst & Young, KPMG, um, Niti Aayog, these are areas where our students can even get jobs as consultants in these particular organizations. So I think I've given you a little framework about how it is taught with practitioners. Very often the pedagogy could be taking out pictures of your cities and then talking about those pictures or making a little video, a video ad for about a minute of 1 minute of photography with a narrative that goes with it, addressing various challenges and issues. A very innovative program structure for urban, very engaging pedagogy with practitioners, and with a lot of learning from the real world. Thank you, and I'd be happy to address any of your questions in this regard.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, I think that was very, very detailed and insightful for all you guys. If you have any specific queries about the specialization, feel free to ask. We will address all your questions once our discussion is done. We have a separate section for addressing all your questions. So Thank you again. Moving on, uh, I would like to call upon my colleague, Dr. Ashlesha Swaminathan. She will talk to you about the finance specialization. We also have with us over here one of our senior colleagues, Dr. Deepa Gupta. She will also pitch in about the specialization. And yes, over to you, Dr. Ashlesha, Dr. Deepa. Thank you.
Thanks, Ishita. Good morning. I'm Ashlesha, former banker and now academician. So the finance specialization, as Jyoti ma'am mentioned, is the newest one, newest addition to the master's program at SSC. We follow a very applied approach while teaching the finance program. So you will study the theory as well as its application in detail. So we have the faculty teaching the finance subjects are all industry experts coming from their areas of specialization, and as you can see, we cover almost every aspect there is to cover in the field of finance. You have the security analysis and portfolio management, derivative markets, financial economics. We're preparing you for a career in finance, which you can take it ahead as you find, because the subjects are diverse, and you can take it ahead according to what is your area of interest. So if you would like to get into a career which involves financial advisory or wealth management, you have security analysis and portfolio management, you have behavioral finance, you have financial risk management. If you want to get ahead into the capital markets, we have financial economics and derivatives and financial modeling as well. If you would like to go ahead in a career where it's more on the corporate side, project management, infrastructure finance, then we have FRM, that's the financial risk management, and the corporate finance and international capital market subjects. If you are looking at risk analysis or credit risk analysis, then we have the actuarial economics as well, which I think we're one of the few programs that offers this, or maybe the only one that offers actuarial economics as a subject. All right. So you get exposed to every aspect of the field of finance. You have the option to do your dissertation as well in whichever subject or whichever subtopic that you feel you are interested in. A lot of our students are doing in the current scenario are doing finance internships alongside the course, so that they get more hands-on experience and they're more job market ready and more employable. So they are supplementing whatever we are doing here, so they are more experienced. Because finance is a subject where really you have to, it's an experiential learning, right? In terms of jobs, I've already mentioned, we prepare you for careers in, like I said, wealth management, financial modeling, trading, if you're interested in that, banking, finance, insurance, or even starting your own financial consultancy actually as well. So I hand over to Deepa now. Deepa, would you like to add something?
Thank you, Aslesha. You covered quite a bit, but I would just say from my side that this program structure of the finance specialization, since I had in past an experience in teaching the MBA students also, I would say that we can definitely think of basically on the concepts. We can definitely take a competition with the MBA students who do MBA finance, because they there you don't do the actuarial economics at all, and that is one of the in the insurance sector, the more and more people with a little bit of finance background and a little awareness on actuaries is getting a lot of opportunities, and the insurance sector, I needness to say, in this COVID time has grown in huge. in huge this thing, right? So I think the program has been designed very well. As Risha ma'am has already mentioned the the various opportunities that you can look forward to. I would just add this bit from my side that this, if you're interested in finance, can go through any of the MBA finance courses, and you will find that this program is equally good as an MBA in finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you, Ashlisha. Uh, I think you guys have a fair understanding of what kind of specializations we offer and what each of these specializations entail. Uh, the next thing that I would like to move on to is what kind of students are we then looking at? Okay. Uh, So for the MSc Economics degree, we want students who desire a very, very rigorous higher education and training in the field of economics with the aim to pursue career paths that include analytical, empirical, financial, advisory, managerial, and research-oriented work at academic and at application levels. Uh, if you think that this is your calling, then the Symbiosis School of Economics MSc in Economics program is meant for you. As far as instructional styles are concerned, the way we teach, we have traditionally had the standard discourse method, that is the discussion, case study, seminar-oriented methods, uh, hands-on learning, experiential learning, uh, where students are encouraged and uh, led to do work which is hands-on, which gives them a feel of the real world and provides them an understanding of problem solving, not only from the point of view of academia, but also in terms of working in the industry. So all kinds of transferable and subject matter specific skill sets are provided to you in the classroom. There is only as much as can be done in the classroom. We can gently nudge you to look towards these different facets of learning. It is up to you, your interests and your personal preference as to which ones you will pick up on and develop further. Of course, we are there to handhold you and guide you in that process, right? However, given the pandemic situation that has come upon us in the last 1 year plus, we have taken to online teaching, which our student here, Mayuk, mentioned to you at the beginning of the webinar. Uh, what we have seen is that the online teaching mode has opened out a lot of opportunities for us in terms of the kind of people we can get on board with us to conduct classes. So since teachers don't need to essentially travel physically to come into a class and teach you anymore, we can access national and international teachers to come and engage you at various levels and share their experience and share the different teaching styles that different people have and the different kinds of research and the different specializations that these experts have developed over all these years. Okay. Not only that, we see that uh, the execution of these classes in terms of flexibility, in terms of uh, timing, in terms of the other logistics have become easier for us because we have gone online. Of course, we take into account the fact that there is a lot of online fatigue that may come up, screen time fatigue that may come up with such situations, but we have ensured that students get a break from this and we try to balance out as much as is possible. We share all our videos, handouts, notes, textbooks, etc. Everything that is required are now being channelized through the online mode. And students have they have adjusted to this really quickly, and they are actually, I think, some of them who have done the online mode and the offline mode are finding the online mode comfortable by now. So this is about the instructional style, the pedagogy, as we call it in the academic world. The next thing that I would like to talk about are the kinds of centers that are available here in the institution. So while we've mentioned to you that there is a strong focus on research and analytics, we have Dr. Ranjan Das, who is in charge of our research outputs, not only for the students, but also for our colleagues, that is the faculty members. And for students, we are very, very keen about the fact that you develop skills for research and analytics. You will get a lot of opportunities for industry and field outbound activities that facilitate the recognition of socioeconomic problems. There are internships that you can take on, projects that you can undertake where you will be able to recognize problems, you will be able to provide solution for the problems, and you will be trained in the methods through which you can achieve the recognition to the solution and offering insights end to end. Okay, so projects typically entail the developing of a research question, creating a research design, collecting data, drawing inferences from the data analysis, and making observations from this exercise, throwing insights and probably even providing solutions. Uh, Students are given a hands-on flavor of field research. There's a formal internship, which my colleague Ashlesha will talk about again. And typically internships are in various corporate, government enterprises, as well as non-government organizations. There is a two-part research methodology course, and it is compulsory for everyone, where we formally synthesize theory and applied research, and students are prepared to rigorously take up research writing. There's also a dissertation component, which is compulsory for everyone. And there are a lot of avenues for research output. We do take up students for data crunching and specifically data crunching and software training. We use R, Stata, SPSS, Python, etc. We also have a whole bunch of other software, but in the given situation, we have not been able to use them online because of the licensing issue. It has to be physically accessed in our labs. And sure enough, as soon as you come to college, you will be given training on the other software also. We do have a very progressive and evolving curriculum for, or instructions for the software training. We are now blending in AI and the related concepts and ideas that fit into economics and its problems and solutions with respect to AI. And some of these solutions require R, Python, etc., as you may already be aware of. So moving on, like I mentioned before, there is a specific component that is compulsory for everyone, and that is a dissertation component, which is important for the partial fulfillment of your MSc program. And that is a final testimony of experiencing the process of producing knowledge, managing a project from the beginning to the end, and the ability to consolidate communication, information seeking, and intellectual skills as far as an academic setting is concerned. But the feedback that we get from students who have graduated is that when they are actually working on their dissertations, they crib and cry, and they find it. Some of them find it difficult, and some of them feel that they are never going to be there in academia ever again after they've graduated. So why are they being made to work on a dissertation? We have had solid feedback over a period of time that while they crib and cry when they are actually working on their dissertations, later on, when in their work life, they realize that this kind of rigor and training has actually put them in a very, very strong position with respect to their other colleagues in their workplace and competitors as well, because not everyone comes in with this kind of a skill set. Understand that in your work life, you will still have to do research. It may not be in the academic setting with the academic do's and don'ts, but you have to write a white paper, you have to write a research report, you probably will do sectoral research, you will do financial research, risk research, and so many other things. And all of these require the skills that you will learn here at the Symbiosis School of Economics, and you will put together in your dissertation, which will culminate into the final output of what you have learned here. So, may I ask Dr. Dash to please shed some more light about research and analytics at the School of Economics.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you, Ghosh ma'am. So I will briefly talk about research. So all of you know the countries that is doing better in research and development are doing very well, and India is not doing that much well because our expenditure on R&D, research and development, is less compared to other countries. So research in science, research in social science is little different. In social science, we do different behavioral researches and many aspects we do, but this is not exact science. So therefore, you know that research in social science is little different compared to exact science or science. Okay, so in so SSC, we trained you in research, and let's say we give you very good idea and background about how to do research. Once you are out of this program or graduate from this, you will feel confident that you can write report, you can interpret the collect the data, interpret it, analyze it, and reach the conclusion. So that is the way we do research. So the research starts from the first semester itself. So as an internal evaluation, and you have to do write research paper. You have to write research paper, and in that context, you have to understand, develop research ideas, exposure to different data sets, critical thinking about different literature, and not only that, you also have to also let's say you have to learn how to apply different softwares and to manipulate data to bring out whatever you want to do and check the data, and then you have to also analyze the data. You have to write the, let's say, whatever the result is coming out of data, you have to write that and reach a very what you call conclusive, let's say, what reaches set up a conclusion that answers your research ideas or questions. So you first semester itself you have to write research paper. Second semester also same process continues, but you also exposure more to the research ideas, like learning with different packages, stata, eviews, and arcs, Python, SPSS, even Excel also, advanced Excel also. And not only that, also you have to start your, nowadays you have to write research paper. And for this, we are training you so that you can independently, you can collect the data, develop your research idea, and critically summarize the existing literature and put your research idea, and so that you can think about whether you are contributing or not, and also interpret the data, collect the output generated from different softwares, analyze that, and write your topic or write your research report. So that is very vital. And for me, when I did my MA in economics, I didn't learn that techniques. I only learned in MPhil and PhD. And you are lucky, guys, that we are training you research so that you are halfway through, that you are basically half a PhD student. And you are basically
Right. I think there is some kind of problem with the uh, internet connection at Dr. Ranjan's place. Let me continue with our discussion. He'll come back and join us and talk to you about what he was saying. The School of Economics also has a center for academic writing, and through this center, we offer numerous facilities to students about any writing difficulty, from questions about grammar to matters of style, including difficulties such as overcoming a writer's block, maybe thinking like a writer, shaping papers, writing essays, reports of various types and kinds, presenting scientifically researched information, and many, many other aspects that the student may be facing in the course of working on their research. Uh, these are achieved through specialized workshops in writing and business communication, and by conducting courses in research methodology and economic journalism. The center also facilitates in publishing an annual journal that is a compilation of outstanding academic writing. Most of the entries come from the bachelor's level, but it is also open to the master's level students if they so want to. There is also a center for quantitative learning and applications, and this center was created to provide a platform to the leading researchers and practitioners to interchange ideas and knowledge to support quantitative research in the discipline of social sciences. Now, the research center, the quantitative learning and application center, supports researchers with an advanced level of training within the analytical and quantitative disciplines of economics, econometrics, finance, accounting, etc. The center facilitates advanced levels of data analysis and statistical software training, such as R, SAS, Stata, SPSS, Gretel, Python, MATLAB, eViews, etc., and other statistical and econometric software which is needed. So this is for students and researchers to enhance their analytical ability. We also have two sister institutes. One is the Symbiosis Institute of Technology, where there is a center for AI. Our colleagues there and the students there help our colleagues here at SSC and the students at SSC to simulate and run data with the help of AI. We also have another sister institution, the Symbiosis Statistical Institute, where there is a lab for data crunching and understanding how to crunch the data that you would like to work with. So we have a lot of support in terms of in-house as well as from our sister institutes as far as quantitative learning and applications are concerned. We also have a lot of very, very skilled and highly trained colleagues and faculty members in some of the other institutes with who offer a quantitative learning and application facet in their programs as well. And we all come together to offer you this kind of an environment where you can nurture and grow as far as the quantitative learning and application is concerned. Moving on, there is also a behavioral and experimental economics cell at the Symbiosis School of Economics, and Dr. Ashlesha takes care of it. So I would like to invite her back again to talk about this cell. Thank you, Dr. Ashlesha.
Thanks, Ishita. So at in the behavioral cell, we help students do research, usually for their dissertation. You know, if in helping them understand behavioral concepts and designing an experiment and analyzing, you know, the results of that experiment, which everything is basically focused on nudging or understanding the decision-making process, which is the crux of behavioral economics. And yeah, so at the moment, we are supporting all the students who are doing their dissertation or projects in this. And, we are looking forward to a lot of collaborations with other institutions and organizations in the space of behavioral and experimental economics to do research projects. That's it from me, Ashita.
Thank you, Ashlesha, again. Uh, there is a student council and there are a lot of extracurricular activities that the student will get to choose from. So, Mayuk, can I ask you to talk about the student council and the extracurricular activities, the clubs, etc., that are there at SSC? There is also a fest that the students organize annually. Given that this has been a pandemic year, over a year now, the fest has not been organized. Clearly, it requires people to get together, and that has not been possible because of the back-to-back lockdowns and the COVID appropriate behavior that we need to follow. But that has not deterred any of them from organizing online activities, socio-cultural, probably related to economics, etc. And the students have also organized and have partaken in many expert uh, talks and sessions, which have lent a lot of additional layers and elements in terms of uh, increasing the understanding and insights for various topics and subject matters. So, Mayuk, may I ask you to come back again and talk about your experience or the general availability of extracurricular activities and co-curricular activities that you and your colleagues have undertaken, even if it was the pandemic situation.
Yes, so thank you very much. So as reiterated before already, that there is a proper election that takes place. Then the student council members are selected for each year, and you name a club, and the club is there where all the activities that are happening. So we have club ranging from the art side, that is dance, music, to photography club, research club, and entrepreneurship cell. So all of these clubs come together to form the council, and we all in collaboration, we try to make sure that the academic year is engaging, and in terms of our other activities, uh, and we have been conducting that. And as Ishita ma'am also spoke about the fest, which could not have been possible this year, but this year, even in the online situation, if anybody has followed the Symbiosis page, it would look like how many events that we have conducted in this online form, where it was open for everyone. And that has been taking place this year. Although we could not conduct the fest, but this time the student of Symbiosis School of Economics, we have come forward with an initiative to help the people in this pandemic to for a crowdfunding event. So we're also part of the social issues in terms. And before I end, I would like to point out on a very important event that takes place, a flagship event of Symbiosis School of Economics. That is the Economist of the Year, which, if we have to get into the details, it is essentially it tests the students for the capabilities, and then you're awarded the Economist of the Year competition. And the Symbiosis School of Economics organizes those things. And as of now, as a part of the council this year, uh, we have made sure that even in this online medium of communication, we try to engage. And just lastly, to point out, today, in fact, in the evening, we have a cultural event that is taking place, which is also open for everyone. And if you would like to join, please, you would understand the diversity and the pool of talent that we have at this institution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayuk. Let me also add here that Mayuk is the student president of the MSc Student Council. And as Mayuk will testify, We have a very, very democratic way of selecting the student representatives. We conduct proper voting where students are nominated and then they opt for, they nominate themselves and then all of us vote so that the council is formed in a very, very uh, transparent manner. So moving on, uh, I would just like to make a quick comment about uh, the faculty profile here. Uh, Symbiosis School of Economics has a range of faculty members, teachers, mentors, collaborators to the students. This is a very vibrant kind of team, uh, ranges from all kinds of age groups and experience and exposure and specialization. Not to mention that each and every one of them are very, very talented. We also have active scholars and researchers who are passionate about their disciplines and they bring through a knowledge of their domains of expertise to the classroom that comes from a rich academic and professional background. They bring an energy that inspires our students to push their talents and think beyond their limits. Not only this, uh, SIU, that is the Symbiosis International University, has a very, very specific initiative, which is internationalization. And the internationalization is largely an exchange program for students from different parts of the world, where our students can also partake in some of the exchange programs that is happening abroad. Uh, I am not the right person to talk about this, but I would request Dr. Khushbu Thadani, who's here with us, to quickly shed some light on the internationalization process. Dr. Khushbu, are you there? Okay. I think she is not connected right now, but the exchange program is basically about students from different parts of the world who come to SSC and take part in the MSc program. We have had a lot of Afghani students, we've had students from Syria, we've had students from various countries of Africa, we've had students from Spain, and our students have also mapped a semester exchange and gone abroad to uh, be a part of an international environment where they have learned and uh, had exposure in a non-Indian setting of uh, learning some of the courses that they would have otherwise done in our School of Economics. Some of the universities with whom we have a lot of MOUs with our universities, but some of them are the University of Bremen, Leibniz, Hanover, Berlin School of Economics, the Knowledge Exchange Institute, and Ontario, Maharashtra, Goa exchange programs, etc. So if you opt for the Symbiosis School of Economics, Khushbu can take you through all these uh, options and opportunities that are available for you. I will again ask Dr. Ashlesha to come back here and talk about the placements at the Symbiosis School of Economics. Thank you so much, Ashlesha.
Thanks, Chita. Right. So about the placement cell at Symbiosis School of Economics, first of all, the placement cell is more or less run by the students of MSc, and we just kind of guide them along. Right. So over the years, we have built up this kind of a structure which you can see on your screen, where we undertake various activities to help students, enhance their employability. Can you go back? Yeah, thanks. Their employability for the job market. So we start with simple things like how to write your CV, um, how grooming and business etiquette is important. Then we move on to aptitude tests, career counseling, communication skills training. In fact, we collaborate with our sister concerns in Symbiosis for most of these activities. Okay, we are also very sensitive to your emotional wellness and mental health. So Symbiosis has a Center for Emotional Well-being, and we work closely with them to support all of our students, especially during this kind of trying times as we have experiencing right now, or even to deal with the stress of looking for a job or getting placed, and various other things. We also arrange interactions, which are very active interactions with our alumni. So we have, as Jyoti ma'am mentioned, a number of alumni from BSc and MSc, and we invite them back so they can talk to the current students about, what has been their experience in the job market, and more specifically about the kind of roles that they do and the kind of organizations in which they have worked. So this gives you as a student, master student at SSC, a very kind of a holistic perspective on what you can look forward to and how you need to approach the job market and your career. Next slide. Right. So just to give you a quick idea, we had a lot of questions I could see on who are the companies that come. Right. So we have divided the companies based on the roles which they offer to our students. So for analytics roles, now this data analysis can be applied in various industries, as you are well aware. So we have companies which have, you can see the list. These are just a few of them which we could fit on the slide. But these are some of the companies which come in and offer roles in data analysis. They're from different industries. SG Analytics is from finance, ZS is from pharma, Vodafone, as you all are familiar with, I don't need to tell you. Bristol Cone is from supply chain logistics, right? Then, so we have most of our students get placed in analytics and in market research, right? So I have a graph for you after this, which kind of shows you the distribution. So when we're talking about market research, that's a broad title. You have maybe consumer behavior, you have business intelligence, you have macroeconomic research, industry research. So it depends on the company really, right? So here you can see a list of our recruiters. So you have Nielsen from, consumer and marketing side. You have CMIE, which you all are aware of, macroeconomics. We have students who have joined The Economist magazine. We have other companies which come to us, which focus on business intelligence. Right, so these two, analytics and market research, in our past experience, are the main industries which have been coming to SSC for recruitment. I had a couple of questions on finance also. So as I said, this is the first year we are offering finance. Mayuk's batch is the first batch which will be graduating with the finance specialization. In fact, I would say from that specialization, almost there are a number of them which have been placed already. So they are placed in roles which have to do with market research, equity research, financial modeling, wealth management. So as I mentioned when I was talking about the finance specialization, so you would not see finance in these slides because we haven't had it in the past. Next slide, please. So in the banking and finance, we have more from analyst role, a job profile. So we have, big international organizations, Citi, EY, Morgan Stanley, coming in for financial analyst or financial analysis kind of roles or risk-related roles, right? I think Ishita mentioned about how we give a lot of emphasis on quantitative studies and techniques, and that helps us to get jobs in our students to get jobs in this area. I think Kalyan has spoken about in detail about development sector and jobs that you can get. So here I just listed out the companies or the organizations really where our students have got jobs which are in the development sector, right? And in Public Affairs Center is based out of Bangalore, and our students are working on they work on creating indices on various sectors in the economy. And our students over the last, I think, 3 years have played an active role participating in the construction and data collection and analysis for those indices. Next slide. Right, so from SSC, if you feel, you have an affinity for academics or research in particular areas related to government, governance, then we have students who have joined these organizations. So NIPFP is National Institute of Public Finance and Policy, which is based out of Delhi. So that is a government institute. Then RIS works in the space of trade and development, another government think tank. IIM, everyone is aware of. Our students have joined as research associates over there. IRMA, rural management in Anand in Gujarat. Our students have joined as research associates over there as well. Our own university, SIU, also hires our master's students who are interested in a career in academic research as research assistants or teaching assistants. So I've just explained to you, the various avenues that you have open to you after you complete your master's here with us. So it's they're coming from different areas. So you are really, it's up to you which way you want to go. And in the campus recruitment process, there are no barriers. So just because, if, for example, if you took a development sector, development study specialization, it doesn't stop you from applying for a job in analytics, right? So what I'm saying is your specialization doesn't really define you, because in the campus recruitment process, the companies which come in, if you're, they're looking for the best talent. So if you have the skill that they need, then they're very open to allowing you to apply for that, right? And at the same time, we have companies which come to campus who are very specialized or very niche in their research or in the work that they do. And they are looking for very students who are trained in a particular area, say for like urban, right? So we have both sides. So you have a open mass campus recruitment and you have a very niche kind of a hiring process as well. So we have you covered from all sides, basically. The next slide, please. Right, so this is, as I promised, this is basically for last year's distribution of the industries. So as you can see, analytics forms a large part of the students where they go, and then followed by market research and banking and finance. I had some questions. One was regarding experience of the students. So at SSC, we find that most of our students come straight out of graduation. So very few of them have any market experience or work experience. Having said that, the ones that do have been able to get employed and some better space than they were before. I had a question about if I have worked in banking, in finance for the last 4 or 5 years, then what are my opportunities? See, finance is a very big field. So I don't know where you in which area of finance you worked before, but if you want to upgrade or if you want to move into another area, then definitely this course will help you hone your skills and move into that particular space in finance, which you are, looking forward to. One second, I'm getting another question right now. For finance specialization, do students need a lot of prior knowledge about finance field? No. You obviously need to have a good understanding of economics, and we are, if anyone doesn't have the finance background, we do arrange a bridge course between the 2 years, the first year and the second year. So those who are choosing the finance specialization have some kind of a base or foundation, so that it doesn't go tough for them, in the regular course. In terms of CTC, we have had companies coming in. One of the highest CTCs we've had is about 14 lakhs. And the average goes around 6 to 7 lakhs per annum, depending on the company which is offering. In the campus recruitment process, we share all the information with you in terms of what is the job profile, what is the location, what is the package, etc. And you have all the information that you need to know before you decide to apply. So yeah, I think that's it from me on placements. Thanks.
Thank you, Ashlesha. I think we will move on to the specific question answers at this point in time. We have already received some questions. Sorry. I think before we move on to the question answers, we also need to know about the admissions process. So after the admissions process details are done, then we are going to move on to the question answers. And I think some of the questions that you have already asked about the admissions process, or some of the other things that you have asked in terms of the program structure or the specializations or placements, etc., have already been covered. But we will still take up anything else that is over and above that. So over to you, Shilpi.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I'll brief you about the admission process. So there are queries that have come in, that how do we prepare for the entrance exam, etc. So I would like to tell you that there is no entrance exam for MSc. Your selection will be based on your application and your past academic records. To track your application form, you have got a login ID and password when you have registered for the course. So you can track your payment and all the updates into that login. You can do the registration and the payment till the 21st of June. The shortlist will be displayed on 26th June. So just keep checking the website for all the updates. And we will be sending you communication time to time, informing you about the instructions, about the various processes. So once the list is out on the 26th of June, we will be sharing a Google form to you to get your preference on the date and time for the interview, and accordingly, all the details will be shared to you. So PI is going to be conducted online, and it will happen on the 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd of July. And your final selection will be based on your PI performance. The merit list for the same would be displayed on the 9th of July. So that's all about the admission process, and we will be sending you emailers, reminders about the various processes at the different levels. Yeah, so that's it, ma'am. Ishita ma'am, you can just tell them about the type of questions that are being asked during PI. A few of them have asked them about that. Thank you.
So the students who are going to apply to the Symbiosis School of Economics, as Shilpi already mentioned, will go through a PI. Now The PI process, essentially, PI means personal interaction. And here we largely discuss various aspects of basic economics, stats, maths, general knowledge, uh, their take, the students' take on a certain current issue, if they want, their interests, hobbies, etc. It's a it's an it's a chat where we try to understand uh, how you will fit into our program, and even if you don't come from a hardcore maths and stats background, will you be able to cope with what we have to offer? So we actually have students from engineering, from physics, from chemistry, from commerce, from various other, from BBA and various other um, undergrad backgrounds who apply for to the Symbiosis School of Economics, and by the way, do wonderfully once they have finally graduated. So I see a bunch of questions here pertaining to the PI. So Ishan Sheth has asked, do we need to submit an essay or paragraph as an entrance exam along with the PI? No, not this time. We used to have that process. Probably you've heard that from someone else. But given that the entire process has now become online, and these are very different circumstances, we will only have the personal interaction. Bhakti Joshi has also written, can you also brief us about the admission process and the syllabus of the entrance? The admission process, Bhakti, has already been shared with all of you. There is no syllabus really. Whatever you have, we will have a quick discussion depending on whatever background you come from. Okay, and whatever you are comfortable discussing with your interviewers. Okay. Uh, right. So there are some. I'm just scrolling through the questions to see if there are some interview related, as in the PI related questions that I have missed out here or not. Okay, which areas should I focus on for the personal interview and VAT? There is no VAT, Anushri. It is only the PI, like we've mentioned before. So I think I have. Yes, Kiran, there is no essay this year for the admission, right? So I think that covers our admission related questions. Kiran also asks, what kind of textbooks do you use? Yes, standard textbooks, which are recommended at the master's level. Halvarian is one of them. You're right. Varsha, you have asked what kind of questions would we be asked in the PI? Can you put forward an example? Okay, so we'll probably ask you if you are comfortable with any particular topic in stats, any particular topic in maths, and ask you to solve a quick problem, or maybe ask you a very quick concept or idea that you should be familiar with, and maybe give you a small setting where you will have to apply yourself and say what should happen if you put your economics and related concepts into practice. Okay, so for example, we may ask you something like, this is a pandemic situation, right? So do you think that the RBI should get into changing interest rates frequently? Is that a good idea? Or something like that. So you would know, you should be able to answer something like this, which is essentially an application of all your classes that you've taken so far at the undergrad level. Okay. Or maybe we could ask you to, if you are not familiar with maths and stats, we will probably ask you some questions which will help us assess whether you will fit in here and you will be able to cope with the curriculum that we offer. We also could ask you probably what is your take on the, let's say, Atmanirbhar policy that the government has advised for all the citizens of India? Or do you think everyone should be vaccinated, etc.? So things pertaining to whatever is going on around us and directly or indirectly affects socioeconomic circumstances or problems that we are encountering. Okay, so if you go through the chat posts, Shilpi has mentioned here very clearly there is no VAT this time. There is no essay, there is no write-up, there is no written submission that you need to do. It is only the personal interview or the personal interaction that will be conducted. Some of you have shown concern about your exams, etc., which have probably been deferred because of the pandemic situation. Absolutely. I mean, this is something that our students who got admission into SSC in 2020 have also faced. They have been given a break to take care of their final exams in the undergrad. They have also been given a lot of time to submit their certificates, etc., their degree certificates, their migration, their whatever else is required for eligibility. They have all been given a lot of time and flexibility with these things. Of course, we understand, right? So this is another aspect. I don't see any new questions as far as the PI is concerned. Someone has asked, Shivanjali has asked, where do we have to upload our documents? Shivanjali, everything is going to be told to you. The website plus some form of communication will give you all the information that you need to look at and probably adhere to. So Kiran Khande has asked about the fee structure. The fee structure is available on the website, Kiran. You can take a look. The intake is also mentioned on the website, Aishika. But while we have a 60 intake, we have had the directive to take on more students, and currently we have around 73 students in the MSc program at the MSc Part 1 level. Does having a gap year affect my admissions prospect? Not at all. Not at all. We have students who've taken a break for whatever reasons or have worked somewhere and then joined their masters. So yes, Aishika, we also hope that you get through. Is there a scholarship available? That is what Rijul is asking. Will Shweta please talk about the scholarship?
At SSC, you can find the details of scholarship on our website. The address is sse.ac.in. Over there, we have a separate section about scholarships. We have a couple of scholarships offered to students. One is of Wickfield, and also SIU offers a merit scholarship for every semester topper.
Ghosh ma'am, please unmute.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. The sheet here talks about, okay, before I move on to the sheet and the questions that are there, Shilpi has written to everyone, please take note. You will receive all the instructions, details regarding all the processes during admission via email. So you keep checking the website for the updates as well. Okay. Ronak has written, I tried logging in with the ID and password provided by the institution, but I couldn't log in. I would also request all of you to put down your questions for everyone, because I am not responding to all the different kinds of problems that you may encounter, especially the technical ones. So will you please write your questions addressed to everyone, then whoever is responsible for answering those questions can take on from there. Okay. Shilpi, would you like to address this? I tried logging in with the ID and password provided by the institution, but I couldn't log in.
Yes, ma'am. So anyone who is facing any technical issue with logging in into the application form, you can simply write us an email on our admissions email ID, mscadmissions@sse.ac.in, and we will get back to you with all the details. So if you're facing any technical difficulty anytime in filling up the form or say logging in, just write to us and we will resolve your query. Okay. And when you register, just wanted to mention this thing that when you register, you put your email ID along with the form. So all the details regarding your ID and password actually goes to that email account only. So you can check that email ID, or else you can write to MSc Admissions and we will get back to you with the solution.
Shilpi, there is also a question from Janagan TD.
Yeah.
He's asked how to track our application status and further process for admission.
So I said that you have filled in your application form. You have got an ID and password where you can check your payment status for the application form for the time being. And for all other updates, we will be sending you emails and we will be putting up the list on the website. So once you're done with your registration and payment, just wait for us to send you the communication and keep checking the website.
Thank you, Shilpi.
Yeah.
Vignesh Sitaraman has asked, is this seminar related to the entrance exam for MScEconomics? Vignesh, if you're here with us, you would know that this is not about the entrance exam because there is no entrance exam. This is about the general program structure and the related nitty-gritty of being admitted into this program. I hope you have paid attention to what we have said so far. Shweta, there is a question about fees and scholarship and the admission date, etc., and the duration also. So would you like to quickly repeat what you said again? And this question has come from Mohammad Tafsir.
Okay, so at SSC, the MSc course is of 2 years with 4 semesters. Fees and scholarship details are available on the website, as said by Ishita ma'am already. And I think, is it online course? This is a real-time course with 75% attendance criteria, but currently we are operating online because of the COVID situation. Ishita ma'am, I guess those were the questions you mentioned. Admission last date. Yeah, so all the important dates are also available on the website. You can check that. The last date of registration is 21st June 2021.
Right. Thank you, Shweta. If you guys look into the chat box, it mentions again over here, there is no entrance exam for MSc admissions. The important dates, the fee structure, etc., have all been provided here as links. I would request all of you to please thoroughly go through the website for all information that you need. All the questions that you're asking are already addressed on the website as far as information relating to those questions are concerned. Meenal, you have asked me again if our payment and registration is done, and if I am not in the merit list, then will there be a refund of fees? Yes, of course, if you're not taking up the admissions, there will be a refund of fees. And again, all of you, please address your questions not to me directly, but to all of us available here on the chat, unless it is a very personal question, because that way we get to see who needs to answer the questions. Okay. There are refund policies available on the SIU website. You can go through that link and see what kind of refund policies are available for the duration of time that you would want to stay on at SSC, or probably take on another admission somewhere else.
Ishita ma'am, I just want to add one thing here. That in case you take admissions at SSC, there is a refund policy, but there is no refund for the registration fee that you have paid at the time of registration. So that is a non-refundable fee that you pay one time during the registration process. Once you take admission, then there are complete refund guidelines that you can go through, and accordingly the refund would be processed. But there is no refund of the registration fee that you pay to the institute while doing the registration. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Shilpi. I thought the girl is asking about the academic fees. Right. So payment and registration fees. Meenal, I think you got your answer. Ishan Seth has asked, have SSC, MSc Economics alumni gone to Ivy League universities for research? Oh, plenty of them. Plenty of them. People have gone into very, very well-known universities in the EU, in Australia, in Singapore, in UK, in the US, and also in Canada. Okay, so of course, and they do attribute this admissions to Ivy League universities to their training and grounding at the School of Economics. So yes, that has happened. Again, I'm asking all of you to please not send me a direct message and write to everyone present over here. That way we will be able to choose who should answer your questions, right? One big part of learning at the master's level is to be able to follow instructions. Right. So I think there are some questions here which have come from you guys, which I mentioned here on the sheet. Please discuss about the pattern of questions that would be asked. I've already answered that. What will be the predictive system of class if the pandemic situation continues? I suppose you want to know what is the mode of instruction if the pandemic continues. It will be online till we are allowed to come to campus physically and take class. Of course, once that is allowed, all possible precautions and all kinds of COVID appropriate behavior will be ensured. So till then, we continue online. Nikshape has asked, how important is the knowledge of statistics for this program, and what are the future scope and opportunities? Statistics and mathematics is very important for any core economics program at the master's level. However, it is not compulsory beyond the point. There is some amount of maths and stats that you have to know in order to understand the basis of why certain arguments and discussions in the realm of economics take place. However, subsequently, when you choose your specialization, you can take on research, and you can take on other fields of maybe your choice of work may or may not have a lot of quant orientation, and that is also perfectly fine. There are tons of qualitative methods and techniques which are used in economics as well. But yes, some fundamental understanding is a must for everyone. And at the School of Economics, we ensure that even if you did not have uh, an exposure to stats and maths, or at least stats or maths at the undergrad level, we handhold you to bring you up to that point where everyone is at par so that they can move on with their program that comes up in the subsequent semesters, right? Ritu Raj has asked, can a student with BA Economics join the program? Yes, you can. I've already said that there are a range of backgrounds that we get students to apply into the program, and most of them do very, very well, even if they did not have an economics background before. Sandeep has mentioned he's interested in a diploma in quantitative economics. We do not offer diplomas anymore. We used to once upon a time. This is a full-time program if you are interested. Aman has already spoken, Aman has asked about the scope in the future when he joins this program. I think we have discussed that. There are some questions which probably Ashlesha could take on now. Thank you.
Which questions, Ishita? I
Uh,
answered most of
I
them,
think
which
you
I
have
had.
answered the questions in this thing. So what's the average package and the highest
I
package?
mentioned that. I did that.
You've mentioned, can I get any banking related courses online? You will have to look it up. The School of Economics does not offer any. And what are the job prospects? Ashlesha has already mentioned. Uh, Track our application process, etc. has been answered. Uh, how would this program be taking place if the online scenario persists? Will this course be fruitful enough to get placed? Okay, first and foremost, for everyone, this is a program. A program has various subjects which are courses. Okay, so the program is going to be, I've answered this already, the program is going to continue online, and we are doing that very efficiently and fruitfully till we get further instructions from the government so that we can go back to our physical classes and campus participation. Uh, yes, of course, it has been fruitful uh, for all the other students who have graduated from this program so far in the last 10 years plus. So I'm sure you will also see the worth in joining this program as well, Pasha. Uh, there are no other questions on the sheet that I can see which have not already been answered. So I'll move back to the chat box quickly. And there are some new questions that have come up. Will the online mode of education hinder our future prospects? Not really. Not really. In fact, we've seen that there is more that can be done when uh, the online mode of teaching has taken over. There is more that can be done in terms of uh, extra extracurricular and co-curricular over and above what we are able to deliver. Um, I do not think if the quality of learning remains consistent and improves over a period of time, you should have any problems with an online mode as long as it lasts for your future prospects, right? Uh, Achit has asked, so the merit list will be on the basis of our previous academic record, uh, partially on the basis of your previous academic record and partially based on the interaction that you will have during the interview. Is there a hostel facility on campus? There is a very big hostel facility on campus. but it is primarily for international students. We have a very large international student community. So our campus specifically gives preference to international students as well as undergrad students. The masters have a whole range of options right outside the campus within walking distance, and our coordinators and admin staff help you get accommodation nearby, which are tried and tested and are while we don't endorse them because it doesn't belong to us, but we do go and check out these facilities to see that students can stay there safely. So uh, that is there. Archit, you have also asked, so everyone who applies gets a PI. Right now, we are not sure how many people will eventually apply and turn up. But yes, we look at your current academic records and then decide if you should be called for the PI or not. If you don't make that cutoff, then uh, of course you will not be a part of the PI. Once you are in the PI, which means that your current academic records have been considered, then a combination of your current academic records that are available so far, plus the performance during the PI will be considered in tandem. When do we have to decide our specialization? Specializations are decided towards the end of the second semester of the master's program, and there is a clear uh, mention in the program structure that given the number of students that are available there, there is a minimum requirement that has to be fulfilled when the specializations are opted for. Uh, uh, the specialization process is again a very detailed one where students write SOPs and there are interviews conducted so that we understand whether you really can cope with the specialization, and students are given preference according to the choices that they have indicated as well as recommended specializations depending on what their acumen is like. Yes, so you have to decide the specialization in the second year. For first year, is it strictly online? Again, Anish, if we do not have the opportunity of going to campus and conducting conducting physical classes, like I've said, we cannot go to the campus and do so, neither can you travel. So depending on what the rules and regulations are, as is being given by the state governments, we will figure this out. Samiha has asked, are we required to take up internships as a part of the program requirement? Yes, you have to. Ashlesha, would you like to comment here?
Yeah. So a summer internship basically is compulsory, assessed part of the course. So you, under normal circumstances, the students have to take up an internship of 2 months, which usually is between May and June. This year, we have offered them the option to do a part-time internship instead of a full-time 2-month internship, so that given the situation and the difficulty in moving from one place to another, so that has been the option. But whatever it is, whether it is a part-time or a full-time internship, it is an assessed component of the course and it must be done. That's
right. So someone has asked about the same person, Samia has asked about the student exchange program again. Khushbu, would you like to come in here and
Yeah.
give her the details?
Yeah. So we do have opportunities for semester exchange and summer school programs, and we have an MOU with various universities. So basically, we would have to see probably, in which semester your courses are getting mapped in accordance to the university that you choose to go. And so when you come in, we will basically share some details about the various universities where students have been going and with which we have an MOU. And apart from that, if you wish to opt for any other university for a summer school or semester exchange, you may do so. So what we need to sit and do is we would have to see, how the courses are getting mapped, and accordingly we can apply for the same. Ma'am, unmute.
Thank you, Khushbu. We also have some other questions here. For getting shortlisted, when do we need to upload our mark sheets? There was no option for. Okay, so Rujuta, you will be given all the instructions. Like Shilpi has mentioned and I have mentioned before, all requirements from your end will be communicated to you. You need to check your mails regularly, check your spam folder, check the website, and please follow instructions accordingly. Again, Ashlesha, would you like to take this up? Himani has asked in terms of the finance specialization, is it on selection basis or for all?
I think Ishita has already explained the process for how the specializations get divided. So all students are, it's open for them to apply to whichever specialization they are interested in. And as ma'am mentioned, there is an SOP and an interview as well. So it's open for all, but everyone may not get selected into that particular specialization. So it's the same for all of them.
Suprabha, I think we have discussed this already. The pattern of questions, subjective paper, there is no subjective paper. If you've heard us out so far, we've answered these questions. Right. So are there any further questions that we can help you with? I think we've covered all the aspects of the delivery, the program content, the outcomes, the specialization, the rigor, and everything else in between. If there is anything else that we can help you with, do let us know. Ashwin here has asked about the GIP opportunities. The GIP is for the bachelor students, Ashwin, but there are exchange program opportunities, which Khushbu has already spoken about. Sudhir has mentioned that he doesn't have any background in economics. Sudhir, it purely depends on your intention to work in a focused and specific manner where you will pick up on all the concepts and ideas so that you can be at par with the others who don't have an economics background. In fact, currently in our MSc first year batch, we have a whole bunch of people who've come from either a background of physics or engineering or some other science or pure commerce where they have no idea about economics at all, leave alone maths and stats. If you're from a science background, you will be good at math, and that typically gives you an edge in terms of picking up on the economics concepts, even if you were not exposed to it before. So, will the writing ability test be conducted? There is no writing ability test, Samadrita. Right. I think we have covered all these questions. Is there anything else that we can help you with? In my case, the university, I have not, you will not receive mark sheets right now. We will give you time to take care of all of this. This is true for everyone, Tanisha, not just you. Everyone across the country is facing this. Ishan, a student who has already cleared their CA, can apply for MSc Economics. Of course, they can. Shouldn't be a problem. Can we apply for PhD to any of the firm? You can apply to a PhD program later on. Many of our students have, Malay. You can also write to mscadmissions@ssc.ac.in for any further query. This is for all of you. This email ID is mentioned on the website. Shilpi has typed it out for you. Do let us know if we've missed out on anything, and you can write accordingly to this email ID. Kiran is asking, will you consider other certificate programs and co-curricular activities and sports done during the undergrad? Yes, and overall uh, exposure that you have had at your undergrad level is of course important. Because not just academia, extracurricular and co-curricular helps build an overall personality. And that is very important when you go out in the real world. Is that all? I think this covers the entire gamut of questions that would come in. Can we conclude the webinar then? Thank you, everybody. I would like to thank my colleagues and the director and Mayuk and Shilpi and the tech team and whoever else was here to make this successful. But most importantly, thank you everyone for your interest in this program in the School of Economics, and thank you for being here today and spending so much time with us. Mayuk, would you like to summarize this entire session, and then we can all log out?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. With that, we come to the end of the webinar. We certainly believe that all the queries and all the details regarding the course structure and alike has been addressed. Sometimes it gets difficult to read out from website and documents, and that is why the interactive session and interactive webinar had been planned. And just to conclude, at the beginning of the webinar, we spoke about how the smooth functioning of SSA is all about. And this is just a glimpse right in front of us that even though it is 2.5 hours of webinar, but the work to put up this webinar has been going on for months. And with that, thank you. Thank you everyone for gracing your presence today, taking time off and making sure you interact with the professors. And also all the professors here, starting from Jyoti ma'am to Ishita ma'am, Ranjan sir, Ashlesha ma'am, Deepa ma'am, Varun sir, Khushbu ma'am, Kalyan sir, Shilpi ma'am, Shweta ma'am, and all the other professors and administration officials who were involved. We would like to extend a huge thanks to them. And lastly, again, Symbiosis School of Economics is looking forward to host you all for the next academic year. Keep well, stay fine, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Can we exit the webinar now?
One second.